Welcome everyone to Dragon Quest FM, where we talk about and obsess over Dragon Quest. I'm Austin,
I'm BJ.
and this week is a listener request episode on what's essentially, I guess, like our dream Dragon Quest game. Like
Yeah.
if we were designing a Dragon Quest game ourselves, what would we think of? Like,
Mhm.
what would we put into it? I don't actually have Discord pulled up anymore. Do you have it pulled up to read the
Uh,
prompt that we had? I should have let
I
I
should have
should have
done
had
that.
it pulled up, and I did
Uh,
not.
yeah. So the prompt is if you could make your own DQ game, what would it be in terms of job system or not, and monsters that have to be included, but also other systems that the series has used before, like pet powers, becoming munchie, and stuff like that. Would love to hear location and character ideas too. So
Okay.
yeah. What about you? Like, would you include a job system? That's the one that actually
Would I include a job system? Are you really asking that?
yes, if you made your own, would you actually include a job system?
Yes.
I don't think I
Unequivocally,
would.
yes.
Yeah, I
Really?
think I'm a no on it. I think I would put together a party of like DQ11 where you have different characters with different personalities that go along with their classes, and I
Mhm.
would do my best to subvert the different kinds of stereotypes that we see. Where like
Mm,
the main healer would definitely not be the tiny lady. Where we would have stuff like that, like
yeah.
Serena, and I would probably have more characters like Jade, honestly, stuff like that, where she was just super cool. But I would love to have. I love the ones a lot. I love job systems. Don't get me wrong. DQ9 and its job systems my favorite. But I would have a party that didn't have a job system. I would do the original. I
Hmm.
would do like the original classes that came with the characters they stuck with.
Yeah. Interesting. Um, I also think it's funny that your DQ would be like now with 30% more Jade,
It's true.
or whatever.
I would like that would be the
No,
tagline. It would be
I
like
I would have a job system in mind
yeah.
because I love job systems so much. I wouldn't have it be a game like DQ3 or 9 as much as I love those,
Hmm.
where the party is just kind of interchangeable NPCs, basically like nobodies
Right.
that just are a class. I would have it be more, I think, like 6 and 7, where
Yeah.
there's party members, especially 7, where it's like there's party members
Yep.
that just, and I say especially 7 just because 7 is kind of like it's the
Right.
next one in line, so they just made improvements to it overall from what we saw in 6.
Yeah.
But I have it like that where like there's characters, but with personalities, and there's actually like a story, and the characters are all important,
Yeah.
but that there's a job system that you can do. I would have it be more like that for sure.
That makes sense. Like that would be cool. Like I don't think I would if I were like the developer. And part of it is also thinking I wouldn't want to develop a job system. Like I wouldn't want to develop a vocation system and have to go through the actual hard work of balancing it and making all of the choices and branches and stuff like that. I think the idea
I
of making a single class based game might be a little simpler, or I may be just making that up and it's about the same either way. But
Okay, well, I should say, I should put a disclaimer here. I'm not basing my answer on like a technical perspective at all. Like I'm not looking at it at all as like, oh, I'm having to,
mhm.
design this and pay programmers and like figure all this out. I'm just purely basing mine on like if I had the kind of like if I could build the perfect Dragon Quest
Mm,
game for me, what would the
right.
perfect Dragon Quest game look like? Um, so also, wait. We got to back up to,
Okay.
I meant to bring this up last week and forgot. I promised people I would find out what that stinking turbo button meant
Oh, right.
on the
Yes, the
slime
turbo
controller
button.
that during our live episode. Yeah. So I messed with it for a little while, um, last week sometime before we recorded, because I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I owe it to the people to find out what this does. and honestly could not figure out. I thought maybe it would like make the person run faster. I don't know. It's called turbo. But I looked into it, and according to Google, so take this with a grain of salt, but Google told me that it is you press turbo and then the button, and it
Right.
will just spam that button
Oh yeah.
constantly until you turn it off. Um, which is maybe I couldn't get it to work because the games I was playing it on, that wasn't like a requirement or anything. I mean, I
Yeah.
wasn't playing like Smash or even playing any of the, like
Yeah.
Split Fiction. You and I were playing Split Fiction on PS5, and it's like you have to spam, triangle a whole bunch at
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't trying out any games like that. It was Pokemon Shield and
Oh yeah.
Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze were the two games I
Yeah,
tried
so
it
it wouldn't
out
really
on.
come into play on it. I
Yeah.
remember back in the day when Mega Man X was brand new. I had a
Mhm.
controller that had a turbo mode on it. It wasn't a turbo button like that one. I just looked up in the closet where I have it. Nobody knows that that's what it was, but I was looking directly at the controller up above me.
Yeah.
And I got to where I couldn't play Mega Man X without the controller because when I
Yeah.
turned turbo on, that's what it did. It shot as many you could shoot like 3 or 4 of the pellets from Mega Man out like as you tapped it quickly and then basically it had a pause and then it did it again. And so every time I tapped it, it was like a semi-auto Mega Man on it rather than a like auto stream or making
Mm.
him run faster or anything like that. So that's
Yeah.
kind of what I was thinking it still was, but
Mm.
I didn't know. I haven't used it in however many years it is that it's been since Mega Man X was new.
Yeah.
30 odd years.
So anyway, I guess you can kind of check that one off the Questy Boys mysteries. Um, book number 26, The Case
Yeah.
of the Mysterious Turbo Button. That seems to be what it's for. I'm about to start playing. I got finally bought Xenoblade Chronicles X, the definitive
Oh,
edition
okay.
for Switch. It's supposed to be here later today, I think. I wanted to go
Nice.
ahead and wanted to go ahead and get it so I could play it because the 3-day weekend's coming up.
Yeah.
And I was like, it seems like a good time to just sink a bunch of hours into a Xenoblade game.
That's that's true. Like,
So I'm sure I'll use that controller because I really do.
yeah.
I have that controller, and then we have a Pokemon Pro controller,
Mm,
and so I'm sure I'll use the slime controller on Xenoblade at some point,
yeah.
and I'll see maybe if the turbo button works
Yeah.
for any of those prompts.
Maybe it'll do something on there. I'm really curious on how X plays for you. Like I really want it, but I haven't been able to really focus on anything long enough to play a long RPG. I've been
And you
trying to find stuff, and I don't have a
well,
Switch. Well,
I,
I have my Switch Lite. Don't get me wrong, I have the Switch Lite, but I don't have the game card for DQ3 because it's in the Switch I
other
lost
Switch. Okay,
because it's the
that is still a mystery that we have not
it is. The
solved.
Questy Boys have not solved the case of the missing switch, um, but we will find it eventually. I hope.
Yes.
Though there is a weird dimensional portal in our house. Like when we moved in here 10 years ago, I was stirring. I don't remember what happened. I may have never told you this. Like I was stirring with a big one of our wooden spoons, and something happened. Like I gestured with it, and it flew to the other side of the room, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it. Like I went to
The
get it and I couldn't find it. I
the
thought it
spoon?
went behind, yeah, the spoon, like the long wooden spoon. And so it threw across, and Jennifer saw it and did everything. And we thought it went behind the refrigerator. But then we've had repairs on the refrigerator and got a new refrigerator, so moved it. It wasn't under the refrigerator or anything. It wasn't under any of the other stuff. We've lived here for 10 years and never found this wooden spoon again. So I'm gonna say that we joke that it's like it just like went to a different
Huh.
dimension. Like you threw it
Yeah.
through a portal that appeared, and I think that might have happened to my Switch.
Hmm.
That my Nintendo Switch suddenly fell through a transdimensional wormhole, and that just exists floating around my house. And I've been lucky I haven't fallen into it myself. Uh, so
Yeah.
we're lucky it was
That's
my Switch. But yeah, it was weird. Like I
yeah.
still don't know what happened to this spoon, man. Like we've been here since 2015, at late 2015, and I cannot find this wooden spoon. Like we do not know where it's gone. Like
Hmm.
we've moved every piece of furniture in the kitchen and the little area over by the carport door where it went, and we can't
Yeah.
find it. Like we moved everything in there,
Hmm.
and it's very weird. Like I want to know what happened to it. Like how I don't know. We didn't find it that night. We haven't found it in 10 years.
Hmm.
I'm hoping that's not the case with my Switch.
This
This
has
bothers
nothing
you,
to do with
doesn't it?
Dragon Quest, but it's fascinating. It does bother me. Yeah, I think I've said this in a previous episode. I'm kind of the guy that like knows where everything is. So like my
Uh huh.
wife and my kids, they always come to me and they're like, have you seen blah blah blah? Where is blah 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 blah? And
Yep.
if I don't know off the top of my head where it is, I can at least be like, okay, well, like,
Yeah.
you were in here the other day, so I bet it's in there, and we'll go and look, and like, sure enough, it will
Same
be.
here.
But yeah, it really does bother me.
Like Jennifer thanks me all the time for knowing where all of her stuff is, and so it's like this one has really bugged me over the years, like that I don't know where this is and I can't find it. And like you would think it was under some of the furniture, you would think that it's
Yeah.
behind something in there, like the console table we have the microwave and everything on the island that's pushed up against the wall in the other direction from where I watched it go.
Hmm.
It's not. Like it's very strange, and it's one of those recurring things that when we lose something, we joke about it being with the spoons. that
Yeah,
it just vanishes. Um,
maybe.
it's
So,
it's odd, but
all
yeah.
right. So
So
that was a really long tangent. Sorry, people listening.
bingo.
Um, I can't even remember. Oh, the turbo button. That's how this all got
Yeah.
started. Anyway, so yeah, mine would for sure have a job system. In terms of other systems that like DQ has had before, I I like Pet Power's fine.
Mhm.
Um, so I guess I'd probably be okay. Um, like I've enjoyed them in games that have them, but also
Yeah.
I could kind of like personally take it or leave it. Where if if I was making my own, I don't think I would have it in there because it's one of those things that's like any of the games that kind of mechanic. It's not always called Pet Powers. Like it's what Coup de Grace and Nine and
Uh huh.
things like that. But like any of those games that have that kind of feature, it's kind of like it's a nice thing to have, but like I don't ever feel like it's necessary. Like it's never like a mechanic that I'm like, oh yeah, like I turn into the Kool-Aid man, and just have a good time,
That
doing
would
it.
be
But
your pet powers turning into the Kool-Aid man, just bursting
yes.
through the door. I think I would have implement something that was like limit breaks from the original Final Fantasy VII,
Hmm.
where they were interchangeable, kind of different things. Or maybe it's not that one that I'm thinking of. Maybe I'm actually thinking of the remake, where there would be different levels of limit break that you could build up to. I can't remember which Final Fantasy it was, but take the one where you got a level one that did this, a level two that was more powerful or a different effect, and a
Yeah.
level three that was kind of your ultimate. I would rather have something like that than a simple pet power of just when you get up to this point, you have this one ability. I always like any kind of meter like that I get to build up and save up toward, and then unleash something whenever I need it. We're
Hmm.
like, or choose between them. Like if I have a level three, I can choose to use the healing level one and the smashy level two, or the catastrophic level three, or whatever it is. But yeah, that's what I would do with it. If I were to pick, that would probably be the level of pet power type thing I would do. Would be
I
a
gotcha.
level based limit break pet power stuff.
Um, one that is not mentioned in the prompt, but just I thought of was like monsters using monsters in combat,
Yeah,
which I mean I adored that in like DQ5.
right.
I really liked the monster wrangling stuff in the DQ3 remake. That was arguably my favorite part of that version of DQ3. But I, and I think that I would probably, if I'm being totally honest with myself, um, not have it in my dream game because of the job
Really.
system. Yeah, I think the job system would take up a lot of my focus. Like I would be wanting to, master all the vocations and doing things like that rather than finding the monsters. To me, those are both really good systems, but cramming them all into one game
Yeah.
would be a little rough. Kind of like six. Six tried to do that. They have
Yeah.
vocations, which is a major part, but then they also tried to include some monster wrangling, but there's only like a handful, and
Yeah.
so
It's not
it
like
really
one of the
feels
others.
tacked on. And because your actual main like human party members can learn all the vocations, like it always feels like those
Yeah.
monsters are a little underpowered, because at least the way I play DQ6, like, I'm trying to get up all these vocations and do different things with them, so it's not like it's just kind of like whenever a monster joins my party, I'm like, cool, and then like never use them.
Yeah. I like monster vocations though. Like I would like to have, if there were vocations or something like that, I would include monster vocations where
Are you
you
talking about like in seven,
like
like
in
where you?
seven, yeah. I
Yeah,
love
okay.
those where you get the abilities and things themed on that
Mhm.
kind of like Monster Hunter type stuff. But I would love something like that where maybe implement it where instead of monster wrangling and having them in your party, and not quite like Blue Mage, but you could unlock vocations based on them. Like that one, I
Mm.
think could be fun as a almost, I guess, almost like a multi-class where the hero would be you unlock metal slime abilities or slime stack abilities, things like that to be able to add on to a character, but not a
Well,
full vocation system.
maybe that's what our perfect Dragon Quest game has. Hear me out, because that actually made me think here. It's, what if instead of a job system or a traditional monster system, what you do is you like catch monsters and you basically equip that monster to a character, and they
Yeah,
can like fight with you in combat. And the longer you keep with that, the more that that hero can learn that monster's abilities. So you're
see,
like constantly kind of equipping. You like start off with a slime and then like a saber tooth, and you can kind of build up like a paladin
I
character by using like paladin type monsters and thief with thief type monsters. Like that could be
Death
really
Kiss.
fun actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that would be really cool.
We just
Uh,
invented a really cool Dragon Quest
we
game that
did, we
doesn't
did. Like that,
exist.
it won't
And
exist, and we don't have the technical prowess to put this together
it would be
to
cool.
be able to make anything like that, even in like RPG Maker or something like that. But yeah, it would be that would be really, really, really cool to do.
Yeah.
Like I would, yeah, that's what I would want.
That's what I would want too, I
Definitely
think.
have your paladin, and then be able to equip your monster with it, and even make weird pet combinations where you could have like the void slime on the regular fighter or something like that, where it
Yeah.
would give them
But
spells and like maybe imbue their weapon like Steiner in Final Fantasy 9. Bingo.
yeah,
And
but it has where like as long as you like where you can unequip it, but if you kept with them long enough, like that character will always have that ability.
so the
Like
Final Fantasy 9 weapon system as
well,
monsters in a way where you learn the ability
or
from it and permanently have it after you spend so much AP or whatever on it.
DQ7, yeah, like any of those where it's like you
Yeah, true.
master it and you keep it. Yeah. Like that's what I would like. It's where it's like it's not like, "Oh, I want a saber-toothed cat now," and so
Yeah,
you send off the Draki, but then you lose those abilities. It's
right.
like, no, if you kept that Draki on that character enough to fill up like the AP or whatever you want to
Yeah,
call it to like learn that move, then it's with you forever. I think that could be a really cool way to like, because you could customize characters, but also like if you're leaning toward a direct kind of like
yeah,
job-ish path with them, like if you want a really tanky character, you can
right.
just, equip tanky monsters with them.
Yeah, so
And
if you guys are listening at Square Enix right now and you need ideas for Dragon Quest 12, we just invented it for you. It is going to be funny, whatever. I'm so curious on what DQ12 is going to be, and if it is something like this, like that just happens to be, it's going to be funny, really funny to me that they were already developing it, and we're like, yeah, because it would be one of our favorite DQ games at that
it
point.
it would be cool. Yeah. For they set locales and characters, I
Uh huh.
think, and that's kind of where it's like I I think Dragon Quest games always have some quirky characters,
Mm-hmm.
and I think as long as you give me like I don't have anything off the top of my head, but just I would want quirky some quirky characters.
Yeah.
I think that Uh, I just adore Eleven's cast so much that I think Eleven's cast is always going to be a tough one to beat.
Yep.
But there's some four. I love four's cast. There's memorable characters in a lot of these games anyway. But like I don't know, that's the one where I'm like I don't know. Like I guess in terms of like the character story, you have the fugitive outlaw that's already been taken. You've
Yep.
had chosen one done like to death, and then it kind of seems like maybe DQ12 you're a bad guy, or at least
I'm
initially, or
I'm
like in
still hoping, like I'm still really hoping that it is you are just playing the bad guy for a long
I think
time.
I think I would kind of prefer like just like maybe something we haven't seen before in a DQ game. Um, that I would like to see like a almost like a bounty hunter or like kind of character, kind of like you see in some of the Trails games, where it's
Yeah.
like they're kind of like a jaded person that's just taking jobs. They don't even have to be jaded, but just like I
Yeah.
think that could be a fun. And again, go back to systems where that can be fun. Where I like games kind of like that, like Final Fantasy 12 or the Trails games, or even like
Yep.
DQ9, where like you can go and like get little like side quest jobs where you
Mm-hmm.
just some of them take longer and some of them don't, but you can go and do them, and they're just kind of a
Yep.
good way to get. Like Nino Cooney had a really good job board system with side quests
Uh,
in each town where you could Nino Cooney 2, where you would go around and like that was how you could get special items or weapons, but it could
mhm.
also just be an easy way to like make some money or get experience and
You could
for
also
all your
recruit
characters.
people to your community during that, right? Recruit people to your community through some of the
You
jobs on
you
there.
could do that,
Uh,
yeah, in Nino Cooney 2, which is I guess another mechanic. Would your dream game have a town building mechanic in it?
Absolutely not. No, sir. It would go it might be that you build it up through the first quest and then it gets destroyed so that you don't have to build up a community. Like
Oh.
every game that I end up getting a community building, and this not a town building. Like that's the thing. I like building up towns, but it's when you have to build up a community that the narrative bars, like you have to recruit characters rather than just like build up your settlement or house or something that bothers me. So no, absolutely no community gathering. You could recruit NPCs or something. That's fine, but it wouldn't be a major thing. Like I
Okay.
would.
I
Uh-uh.
like them like in Suikoden and is it Romancing Saga 2 that has the town building?
I don't know. I could never get into any of the Romancing Saga games. I
And
want
then
to. I buy them and I try to play them, and then I'm like, I don't like this, and it makes me sad.
and then you have, a lot of level 5 games have it like Nino Kuni 2,
Yeah.
Dark Cloud was a lot of town building stuff. Like I really like that mechanic in games. I don't think I necessarily have to have it in this one. What I would like it to have though is I really like games that have that kind of the treasure map mechanics, like
Yeah.
DQ9 had treasure maps, but
Hmm.
also like the chocographs the FF9 had, where
Yeah.
you would like get a map and then you would have to go and like find the
Uh
location
huh.
in the world. And I kind of like that process better than just like reading text and solving a riddle. Like kind of
Right.
like that the chocographs gave you an image,
I'm so bad at
um,
it.
and then you could go around like that kind of thing is really fun. I always like treasure hunts in games.
Yeah, treasure hunts are really fun, and I tend to like mini games. Like if it were having my druthers, I would have a card game mini game to be able to play in it that would actually be fun. Because some of them get really tedious,
Hmm.
but I really would like to have a card game that was fun, like Tetramaster from 9 or whatever it was in 8 that I can't remember the name of.
Triple Triad.
Triple Triad and Final Fantasy 8, rather, excuse me. But those are the ones that I would kind of things that I would include. That would
Hmm.
be for sure something that I would have.
So what
Um,
about your character though?
what about them?
Like I said, bounty hunter kind of character. What would you what
Oh,
would you do for that one?
I would probably have just a regular old hero. I think I would just go pretty standard, not necessarily chosen one, but I would like to have somebody like Ortega, where
Oh.
they're an established adventurer and you pick up mid career doing something.
Hmm.
I don't think there are an, and this is me speaking because
Like
as a middle
Ragnar.
aged person, like Ragnar, yeah,
Oh.
there aren't enough heroes in games that are that talk about middle aged people. that everybody is like a 16 to 20-year old just getting started, or they're really old ending their career like this is my last job kind of thing. But like somebody who actually is just doing their thing. They've lived, they got some experience. And one of the issues I think people have with it is that usually it's like, why are these people starting at level one kind of thing? But I don't think that's even just put it off like verisimilitude be damned. But
Or you could just do like what the Trails games have done, where it's like you start Trails of Cold Steel 3 and it's like your whole party is level 60 at the beginning.
yeah, that's true. It's where you already that can be overwhelming to some people where you have abilities and things like that you don't know what they do. I like stuff like that too. Yeah, so I would be perfectly fine with that. Like I would that's the hero that I would do. Just an
Well,
adventurer out doing their thing.
if our perfect DQ game involves the monster thing though, that could be a way to show why they're starting out at a low level is because they could have a general set ability starting out that you start with to
Yeah.
show that they've been there before, but then like they learn more because they get some kind of, I don't know, holy talisman that lets them communicate with the
Right.
monsters of the world. But yeah,
Look at you.
we can
Look at
do that.
you. Always thinking.
Yeah.
Uh yeah,
Um,
that would be really cool. In terms of locations, the only thing that I think I would have is I have to have a desert area. I love desert areas.
I knew you were gonna say
Uh
desert area.
like it's just something that I like. I like the aesthetic, I like everything about it. And so like anything else would probably be just meh. And talking about the hero, just saying that, it would be fun to have a straight up magic caster as the hero in there instead of the typical knight sword hero that we've had before. That's usually the case. I'd like
Yeah.
one that was just the rab kind of character being the hero who has mage powers. I think that one would be interesting just to that be the one that you can't leave your party, that can't leave your
Yeah.
party, and that would make them have to make magic scale better. and,
Yeah. So like, oh man, what's his name? I'm blanking on it now. Discworld. Um,
I've only read the first one. What is his name? Uh,
you know, the main
yeah,
character,
yep,
the little wizard dude.
Rincewind. Is that it?
Rincewind or Rincewald?
Rincewind.
Rince
I think it's
Rincewind?
Rincewind. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not googling it. You can. But yeah, the that would be cool. Like having an actual magic user as the main character would also
Rince
make the
Rincewind the wizard. Yep.
would make the game have to balance magic where it didn't peter out after a while.
Yeah, I could see that. I think, and I knew you were going to say desert for your
Of
location.
course.
I think you probably know where I'm going with my location.
I'm thinking boats. I'm thinking the ocean sailing and boats,
I
islands.
I would like, yeah, the kind of like Final Fantasy X.
Mm,
Isn't my favorite Final Fantasy game, but I absolutely love the like more tropical locations and islands and stuff
right.
that you go
Yeah, I do
around to
too.
in there. Really like that kind of thing. Chrono Cross.
I was actually about to say that's one of my favorite things about Chrono Cross is the setting and how tropical and vibrant it is.
And we kind of get that, I guess, with DQ7.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of get that. And then I guess if you choose a Weddy in DQ10, you kind of get that. But
Uh,
it's not something that Dragon Quest games have just historically had a lot of, where I feel like we could go beach again without it feeling like
right.
DQ7 2.0.
DQ Treasures has some of it. And then Rocket Slime 3 is based on pirate ship stuff. So you're traveling around in different areas like that. But I mean that's Japanese.
But it's not
And
like, but like I guess DQ7 is really the only one where it's just like where you're, I mean DQ7 is you're just going around to all these little islands and
right,
all.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I would like another kind of like FF10, DQ7, Wind Waker type game,
Yeah.
I want some boats and sailing around and discovering islands.
So you saying Wind Waker made me think like Jennifer, did you hear her when we were watching the Nintendo Direct? Or was it I don't remember if it was Nintendo the Switch thing when they were showing off
Yeah.
all the games and on GameCube it showed that you have Wind Waker on there. She had
Yeah.
never seen Wind Waker and was talking about how cool it looked. And it
Oh.
kind of blew my mind that I'd never even taken into consideration that she had never seen the cartoony Wind Waker graphics
Yeah.
and how it plays.
Hmm.
She's like, that looks really neat. So I
Yeah.
was like, when
I
just for
wish.
some reason when you said that, I was like, I don't know if you heard her say that, but it's like I take that kind of thing for granted. But that we've seen it for so long. But yeah, I would like to see something like the Wind Waker stuff with like moving around islands and travel too. That would be
Yeah.
cool.
I think it would be really neat. I but yeah, that's it I think for me with like locales
Yeah,
and all. I think I would still like it to be more fantasy leaning. Like I don't
okay.
necessarily want a sci-fi game. I don't want like Xenosaga in my Dragon
Yeah,
Quest. I love Xenosaga, don't get me wrong, but I don't want that for Dragon Quest, and I don't even think I would want it even kind of like semi like
right.
steampunky, kind of like the
Yeah,
Trails games are, and like Final Fantasy, a lot of Final Fantasy, later
yeah.
Final Fantasy games are. Like I think I would just want to keep it mostly, for the most part, pure fantasy.
DQ Monsters Joker 3 has
Mhm.
a bit of sci-fi elements in it,
Well,
and
all
it's
the Joker
hard.
games do. Like,
I haven't
is
played
it?
the other ones.
Oh, well,
Like you
the
were,
first one is, yeah, it's kind of like that too. You like
and so
have.
it's part of like that's not really my thing. And I love sci-fi. You know that I love sci-fi probably as much as you love fantasy, and it's that's not my favorite thing in Dragon Quest. You're right. But
I
yeah,
mean,
that's
I'm cool with. I guess it depends on, like, I know that killing machines, automatons, things like that.
yeah,
Like, I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's cool, whatever. But I would like there's just a like feeling, I guess, that goes with
right.
sci-fi and fantasy, where I would want it to still be fantasy.
Yeah, I mean that's the way I'm. I don't want it to be a predominantly science fiction game. Though if they did a Dragon Quest spinoff that was sci-fi, I would be all about it. But the mainline games, I mean, it worked for Final Fantasy though. Like that's the thing. They moved into Final Fantasy into much more sci-fi settings, and it really, really works because they're really science fantasy these days than outside of 16 uh,
12,
and
12.
12. Yeah,
I mean, there's airships and stuff, but it's pretty
but it's
fantasy
still
stuff.
a fantasy thing. Yeah, I don't
9,
even 9. Yeah, uh,
but yeah.
I can't.
Um,
Yeah, but 11 as well. So maybe it's not fully science fantasy anymore. Uh, is 11 still going? By the way, Final Fantasy 11, does it still have servers up? I can't
yeah.
remember.
No, it's
Cool.
still
That's
going. It got an update within the last
oh,
year, within the last 365 days. Yeah.
that's very strange to me, but it did. Before we go, I want to end with this anecdote from college, where we had a friend. We were playing Final Fantasy 11,
Hmm.
and you have to group in Final Fantasy 11. There's no way to, at least at the time, there's no way to solo your way after a certain level. And one of our friends went out of town in the game, out of the town, and found different kinds of
Hmm.
turtle monsters called quadovs. And he got himself killed, and he came to visit us afterwards in our
Yeah.
dorm. And we were talking about how he got killed and how we needed to group up next time. He was like, yeah, so I went out there and I found that you do not mess with the upper echelons of the Quadov hierarchy. And we all just looked at him and were like, the upper echelons of the Quadov hierarchy, really? And so for this is 20 years later now. This was like in 2003 to 5 ish, whenever that game was new.
Hmm.
My friends, have made fun of the phrase upper echelons of the Quadov hierarchy as one of the most ridiculous phrases, and it came from Final Fantasy 11. And it's like a human being said it seriously as not making fun. And I use stupid phrases like that all the time, and that one got me that he used it seriously.
I think Final Fantasy 14 might have it beat at this point, though.
Really?
Yeah, it's got some weird stuff. I know we're almost out of time, but
See,
yeah.
that's the thing. He just said it. It wasn't part of the game. That was just something that he said to us. That's why
Yeah.
I think it's so ridiculous. The upper echelons of the Quadov hierarchy was not something that a character said. It was something that our friend said to us in conversation.
Oh, so that's not what it's called in game.
Nope, that's just what he calls it. That's
Oh.
what he came into our dorm and called it. And we're like, dude, no. we're like, don't say things like that out loud. Uh, but yeah, that's why it's ridiculous.
Oh, okay.
That's
I
why
got
we
you.
made fun of it. Not that it was actually part of that in the game. That was how he phrased it to us. And so Final Fantasy 11 has given me that in my my life. So I'm thankful for
Well,
that.
there you go.
Uh, but
Well, thank you guys for listening to this week's episode. Let us know in comments wherever you're listening or watching this, what your kind of dream Dragon Quest game is, your perfect Dragon Quest game, what it would be like. Um, and remember, you can chat with us at dragonquest.fm on Blue Sky, at dragonquestfm on Twitter. Um, you can check us out on Spotify, on YouTube, at all the places. If you want to talk to me personally, I'm Dragon Quaston over on Blue Sky.
and I am at bjkgames.com on Blue Sky. And if you want to check out our YouTube channel, it is youtube.com/at DQFM. And you can always support the podcast and tell us what you want us to talk about by going over to patreon.com/DragonQuestFM. We will see you next week and talk to you soon. Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.